trade results from this morning. Okay, all right, good morning. We're going to show three charts here, the equities. I'm going to show NASDAQ, EMD, and the Russell. And this is trading the Stealth Auto Trader. So it takes two contracts on Stealth trades, has a 10-tick fixed target. And we mentioned that given the current volatility, you're going to want to take that 80-tick runner and push it out to like 120, 140 ticks. Because a lot of times in these markets, what will happen is it'll go up and hit an 80-tick runner. And if the conditions are such that it sees another trade, it'll actually re-enter, and sometimes that'll be at or near the high of the day. So you really want to, if you're going to trade any of these auto traders, push out the runner to at least 120 to 140 ticks from 80. The 80 is the default. But what I wanted to show here was this: is you can see that pretty much we were in a very sort of consolidation mode here on the equities, particularly NASDAQ, pretty much going sideways here. And then shortly before the open, here's the open, 629, 630. We get kind of a probe set up here, like such. See it? And then it was kind of chopping around for a couple of minutes here, and I think we called, what did we call the break? I think it was 88. We called the break at 88, something like that. Anyway, the auto trader got in here and took it a little before the break at 88, got 86 3/4, very quickly hit a profit target here. This is the 10-tick popper. And then you can see here, of course, trail to stop, trail to stop, trail to stop, all the way up, and then you finally got taken out on that retrace up here. There was a couple of places to get in here if you were using Trendline Trader. The first one, obviously, is this break right here. See where it broke resistance, or even up here. And even if you missed those, the nice thing was, I think we called this probe trade out too. This was the second trade we called out on NASDAQ. See how she pulled back right into support here, and then continued her move up. Came right in here to 92, 93, and then broke this 94, 95 area and started heading higher again. And that turned out to be pretty much the final thrust of the morning, coming into a high energy time, which I think was 6:46 or something like that. Yeah, so it was just a couple of 5 minutes after the high energy time, which was right here. We got our first peak. So you could have broken this into two separate trades. If you took the initial break, might have stopped you out in here, and then you got the yellow bar probe trade pushed up to the fresh high, and then of course that more than likely would have stopped out somewhere, kind of right in there where it took the stop dots out. Now, ever since then, you see the final stop out on the second trade there. This the Stealthy kept one trade because it just, see right in here, the tip of that wick of that candle missed the stop by like a tick. See it? So it was one trade for the auto. Now, we did get one more breakout. I think this was the follow-on trade that we took, and actually I believe NASDAQ in this case led the party higher. The actual break occurred here, coming off of a very deep retrace like such. By the way, you would not want to short this. If you recall going back, if you go back, this is probably about 45 minutes now, we said do not short this market. It's too strong. So even though you got a signal on a 4 here, if you look at a longer range chart like an 8 or a 10, this was all still blue and green with a green background. And these bars on the longer chart were actually just turning a little bit yellow in here. And of course, you see this resulted in another yellow bar probe trade and a break to the upside here. All the equities did pretty much the same thing. So you did get a follow-on pop. Now, right now you can see that we are very much chopping around, extremely soupy. And so when you hear us say things like nicely green, turn off the machine, if you've taken, say, 1, 2, possibly 3 trades here in NASDAQ or any of the equities for that matter, when you go into these ranges like this, I mean, the bulk of the volatility in this market has occurred between 6:30 and about right around 7 o'clock, 7:15ish, 7:20 maybe. And that's what we normally see. The first hour, you're going to see, if you're going to get volatility in a morning move, this is pretty much when it's going to happen. The only exception to that would be if you have a major news event at 7 and you see that the market is doing this before the news, just kind of chopping around. Of course, we all know to stay out of this soupy yellow box, right? We all know that. But anyway, any questions on NASI? Coming into a little support area. Here again, I would not be shorting this. The markets are still very strong. Dow's up 145 3/4 still. So this could be, for all we know, another retrace for another leg up later after a high energy time. 6:30, Ron, 6:30. I like turning them on at 6:30. One shot, stealthy, any of those auto traders. That's what I'm saying. You want to capitalize on the first, on the volatility between 6:30 and 7:30. Basically the first hour. Here again, the exception to that would be like a news event where it's non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll, or like Friday, for instance, we had Bernanke come up at 7 o'clock with a statement that just creates a roller coaster in the market. So that would be an exception. You know, major news days where you get, you know, big roller coaster moves. That would be an exception. But, you know, our goal as traders here, we all know, what our goal is to come in and capitalize on the early movement. When the market, you know, presents volatility to us, we step in, we capitalize on it, and then we're done, and we stay out of the choppy soup. The amateurs are in here now chasing this around, giving back whatever profit they may have garnered in here with these trades. And we just don't do that, right? We see the soup, and we stay out of it. All right, any questions on this? I just have two other quick charts to show, and then I'm going to wrap up this recap. Let me show EMD and RUSDI. Here's EMD trading the same thing, stealthy. I'm not going to go through every trade it took here, but you can see it was pretty much moving up very nicely all night. Consolidated in here, and she took you know, a breakout stealthy trade right here. Hit the profit target, stopped out. Now here's a case on EMD where she actually got back into two more long trades before 7 o'clock. Popped one up here, hit a target, stopped up, popped up, stopped out. So she actually broke this into 3 trades. And I think at the apex of the equity here, how much were we up? Was it 1,000? No, 830, 850, yeah, 870, almost 900 bucks. I'll tell you what, if you go back and study your charts, you're going to find that when you get over here towards the 7 o'clock mark, and you know, any of these equities, if you've caught a long, you know, 60, 70, 80 tick, sometimes it's 100 or more tick run like this, and you're up here like 800, 900 bucks, you really, really want to lock down that coin. Because look what happens here. This happens all the time. It's every day like clockwork. Look what happens right in here. Now, granted, we did get another trade here. I shut this off at 7. Just to show that you can trade the first, you know, half an hour to an hour and make your money. You did get a little follow-on Proby breakout here, but you didn't need to really chase that. You know, by the time you got filled at, I don't know, 53.50, and maybe you stopped out at here at 54, I don't know, 54.80, you might have got 15 ticks out of this. You know, if you took the breakout, you were upside down a little bit over here too. But what I'm trying to show is that you had a couple of 3 nice trades. You were up, you know, almost 900 bucks here. It's really time to lock it down. It really is. That's all we're trying to do. Capitalize on that early movement. That's all we want to do, right? Here's Roosty. Any questions on EMD? 6:30 to 7, trading that first, trading the first break there. Here's Roosty. Same thing, stealthy. 2 contracts. Takes the breakout, stealth trade, gets in, pops the first target, trails stop, trails stop, trails stop, trails stop. And of course you see up here she got out, stopped out. Very similar. It was up almost $1,000, I think, at the apex of the trade here. If you just let it run pretty much all morning there, which I think you did, Gary. Didn't you? Where did you finally stop out of that trade? I know you were trailing. Finally, where did it get you up here? 07?
On Russell?
Yeah.
Actually, where you've got that little 4-range swing there that it made, you know, where it did. We even called it up at that top where it just barely took that out by a couple of ticks.
Yeah, right up in here.
Yeah, but I went ahead and kept mine just right at the swing down to your left there.
Uh-huh.
Once it took out that swing, I was done.
Well, we show this all the time in the webinars. This is just your classic double top formation here. I mean, you know, here's the breakout, here's the run, here's the yellow bar probe trade, just like EMD and NASDAQ, right in here. Yellow textbook kind of yellow bar probe, pulls back, gets support in here, resumption of buying, up she goes. Got another chance to get in, kind of at the tail end here. Double top, high energy was 647 or 646, so that would have been right in here somewhere. High energy time. News event, home sales. Home sales, 7 o'clock. You can see we pretty much put in a top here and then went quickly into the soup. So, you know, obviously lesson learned here, just like the other equities. You know, you take those breaks. You see, you know, we're calling it out. The Dow, S&P, cash markets running higher, getting probes and breakouts. Even if you caught half this trade, you could have made $500 on one contract pretty easily. 40, 50 ticks, and for a lot of traders, you know, $400 or $500, $600, that's their goal for the day. You're done. One or two and done is what we call that. And you don't chase the soup. I mean, you heard a lot of our good traders here this morning, Great Hopes, etc. You know, they're done. They hit their goal. They go into sim, and then when they're finished, they shut it off. That's all we want to do. That's our goal for the morning. Capitalize on that early movement, and then nicely green turn off the machine.
And Charles, while you're talking about that too, if you draw your vertical line on that chart, you know, at 6:45 your time, those high energy times are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think it was I think it was a 6:46 or 6:47, somewhere kind of right in here.
45.
Yeah, okay, so right in here.
Even.
There you go. So right in here.
And you know, it gave that one little thrust, and you know, we got that double top. We even called it,
yep.
And yeah, just bank the coin.
Here's your news event over here. So you know, we kind of knew. I mean, we know that home sales are in the soup right now, right? I mean, it wasn't any surprise that they were much weaker than expected, but you know, the market had already discounted all that and baked it into the pie, right? So it's no surprise that over here it didn't put in a fresh high, didn't take out, sort of just consolidating over here. All the equities did this, right? So this is why we keep an eye on the swings. We keep an eye on support. Obviously, you didn't want to short over here because you did get a follow-on breakout move here, which I think, Gary, you called out. I forget where you called it out, the breakout, but you did get a little pop kind of right here. All the equities popped right here, about 7:10, 7:15-ish, just 10, 15-minute pop up there at the end. But for the most part, this is the moves of the morning right here. You got to be ready. I mean, when the market opens at 6:30, you got to be in there ready to pull the trigger, or you have to have an auto trader teed up ready to go, one shot or stealthy, or you got to have your trend line trader positioned so that it gets in these trades. Yep, and when it nails them, you're done. All right, well, that's all I had to show here. Any other questions on the autos, what they took? I think there was a question on the settings. Was that Luke? Did you have a question on settings, Luke? Okay, here's the strategy manager. Pretty much, when we say out of the box, the only change that I made here was putting the runner at 140 from 80. That's all. Normally this is 80, but we tell you to bump that because the current volatility can hit 80 tick targets. And a lot of times it'll do that, and then take another trade right at the peak of a market, which obviously you don't want it to do. But yeah, so all this is, you know, long shorts, you know, stealth entry, probie entry. You know, in this case, of course, it's taking the two contracts. It's got a 10-tick fixed target and a 140-tick runner. Initial stops are 15 and 15. So you know, if you're not comfortable with $300 of risk on the two trades there, right? 2 times 15 times 10 is $300. You can take if you're going to take anything off here, take off the 10-tick fixed target and just trade the runner. Okay, that's what I would suggest. If you're going to trade, if you're not comfortable with $300 of initial risk, then take off the 10-tick fixed target. So what you'd simply do is this. Put this to 0. Okay, now you're only trading the runner. All right, in this case here, you would have still made 600 and change because you would not have got the 10-tick popper here. You would have only gotten the runner, which still was, you know, $600 and change. So, but you know, by doing that, you're cutting your risk in half. So if you get stopped out, in this case here, with only one contract, you're only risking $150 per trade. All right, a lot of traders like that on these auto traders, and cut it back to, that's kind of like one shot. One shot's only taking that one contract by default with a 15-tick initial stop. So on NASI, for instance, at $5 a tick, your initial risk is only $75. That makes sense? Okay. Any final questions? Was break even on? Whatever the default is in here. I didn't change anything on the break even. Let's see, where's the break even down here? Yeah. Yeah, with an offset of 2. So the way this works with the break even is that once it hits, once it goes, the way this reads is break even is on. After 10 ticks, it says move the stop to minus 2 ticks behind the entry. So what that means is that once she pops 10 ticks, it's going to get that stop up 2 ticks behind the entry. And then once she goes beyond that, the trailing stop numbers kick in, which are 12, 30, 12, and 18. That's what these trailing stop dots are. Okay? All right. Yeah, everything's out of the box, standard settings. The only change here, of course, is bumping the runner from the default of 80 to 140. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody, today. I hope we all were green and made some good money. If you are transitioning from demo paper money into live money and you did okay, you broke even, maybe you made a little bit of money. I know a couple traders that are transitioning just lost a couple of bucks, like 30 bucks. I would consider that a winning day. Absolutely. We talk about that all the time. Excuse me. If you're going into live money, so you're dealing with the psychological aspect of trading now, right? That's a big transition for a lot of traders. You want to just get to break even and make a little bit of money every day. And once you get the setups down, then of course then you can start increasing your contracts and you'll start making more money. But break even is a good goal in the beginning as you're transitioning. Well, that's all I had. Gary, let me save the question log over here.
Okay.
And do you have anything else?
Question? The room opens at 5:55 a.m. Pacific time, and we usually have it open till 8 or 8:30. We see just chop right now, so we're going to close it a little bit early. But hey, we already got our trades. Had a great day.
Yeah, we already got our trades. Yeah, see, look at this now. It's just a soupy mess. I mean, you've got resistance up here, and you got support down here. It's like Gary was saying. I mean, even if you're going to try to scalp this, the scalper is going to be really hitting their head. I mean, where do you buy and sell in here? It's so soupy and choppy. I mean, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Seriously. There's always more trades coming along later this week. Got a whole week ahead of us. It's only Monday. Going to have some good days. Tomorrow, I'd say tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. Friday might be soupy because it's a holiday weekend. You still got 3 good days of trading. Tons of good trades to be coming down the pipe. So just keep your powder dry. If you didn't knock it out of the park, don't feel bad about it today. It's still a good day. You got a lot of week left to us here. I'm going to